I'll get home from work and I'll just sit and I'm like, I want to do something. Like I want to play video games, or I want to record stuff, or I want to script like another video essay or something like that, or do some research for video essay, or go farm gold in WoW Classic, or I want to do something productive, and then I just sit here and watch YouTube shorts and doom scroll or TikTok. It's one of the two, and I'm just like, I just feel burnt out, and this is like the only thing that's like other than sleep, that, you know, it's the one thing I can do that's not going to wreck my sleep schedule but isn't taking energy away. Does that make sense?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kayura and Mal Podcast, where we discuss our journey of my fiance trying to turn me into a gamer and anything else we feel like. For those new here, I'm Kayura, the newbie to the gaming multiverse.
And I am Mlaganis, the overseasoned, overcooked veteran. Shout out to the guildies. So, but yeah, the War Thunder. We watched some tonks.
Yes.
World of Warcraft season or phase 3 of Season of Discovery is coming. Next week actually drops Thursday, so level cap gets raised to 50. Super stoked. We couldn't stop talking about aviation and how the Earth is in fact round. Last podcast, for those of you who caught that. But yeah, that's kind of been the gist of it. It's been a pretty crazy week.
It really has been. I think we've decided we're going to drop down to one gameplay and one podcast episode a week.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that will be easier for us to maintain as we go through the craziness of life and work schedules and everything else. So,
well, it sucks when one of your cats is deaf and the other one gets pink eye.
Never ending.
And then the dog ate a bar soap that he stole from the cats, that the cats stole from the bathroom. I
think that was the craziest thing, was like calling the vet and describing all the details of the soap and answering all their questions, and they're just like, yeah, we don't know, so you need to call poison control.
And then poison control charges you $85 just for them to listen to your question.
Yeah, and then tell you, yeah, just like monitor, he should be fine.
Like, thanks for nothing, guys.
Like, it's just like, okay, so he's gonna be fine. That's what I needed to know.
He didn't even have a weird poop. He just had a regular old poop.
They said to expect vomiting or diarrhea.
None of that happened.
No, nothing happened. He was a little gassy.
Iron stomach Mowgli over here.
I think he was gassy from the bubbles.
At least it wasn't a repeat of Thanksgiving. Jesus.
That was so bad.
I'm like, why are you panicking, buddy? And then just the most foul substance one could possibly imagine that smelt faintly of rosemary almost hit Mindy on the way out and made her vomit. So I had this trail of rosemary dog shit like 4 foot long across the living room and cat vomit next to it.
I'm gonna say, the good thing was I was not home. Otherwise, I probably would have been in the same boat as Mindy, and you would have had to have dealt with all three of us.
It was so bad, we ran out of cleaning products. I had to go to the store to buy more cleaning products because I ran out trying to clean this up, and the whole house just smelled of dog poo and rosemary.
Yeah. I remember like getting home because I had to work. I have a part-time retail job, so I worked Black Friday. And just coming home, and I immediately almost just walked back out. It smelled so bad.
I was so worried while I was at the store that you were going to get home while I was at the store to get more cleaning products, and you were just going to be like, what?
I did at least get your text message on the drive home.
Yeah.
So I was prepared, but
Yeah, like, don't go inside. Let me decon the floor first. Oh my God.
though honestly, I think the worst was just like Wasabi getting pink eye, because we were like,
oh my God.
we were prepared for her to have like a tumor in her eye.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, her eye's gonna get removed. Like that was like, we immediately went to worst case scenario.
When we walked out of the vet with a bill for only $172, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it is sad because that's still a lot of money, but nothing compared to what we've been dealing with the past few months.
Yeah, it's been something else. Yeah. It's been something else. But before we jump into the meat of today's episode, if you guys are enjoying the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment about your favorite games that you would like us to try.
Or if you have any crazy pet stories that you would like to send us, definitely put those below.
And let us know how the audio is for the one guy out there that gave us some good feedback. Thanks, man. Shout out to the homie.
Yeah.
It sounds loud on my end during editing, so.
And I don't watch them because.
What? Because you don't want to skew the numbers, or you don't want to hear yourself?
Both. And also with my ADHD brain, I have already been a part of the conversation, so I don't want to hear it again.
Oh my God.
It's like rewatching a movie. I can't do it.
Shadow told me, he said we were such good conversationalists, and he's so used to being in a chat with me that listening to it, he was trying to respond, and then he was like, oh wait, I'm not actually in a chat with them. This is a recording of him.
That's good though.
It's good. At least he thinks we're good conversationalists. Let us know what you think. Do you enjoy the conversations, or do you hate the talking heads?
We definitely would enjoy some feedback. So anything you got for us.
Yeah, it would be awesome. So, okay. Yeah, it's been a productive day. I went for a bike ride, and then we went rock climbing.
Yes.
That we need to do more of.
I feel like our like posting schedule kind of aligns with the rock climbing schedule, because if I have time to make YouTube videos, then I have time to rock climb. If I don't have time to make YouTube videos, then I also don't have time to rock climb.
This is a fair point, yes.
Which is frustrating because I feel like there should be more free time in my day, then I don't know where it's all going.
It's happening when you go to bed.
I don't do that often.
No, I'm just yanking your chain. No, I have moments where it's like I'll get home from work and I'll just sit and I'm like, I want to do something. Like I want to play video games, or I want to record stuff, or I want to script like another video essay or something like that, or do some research for video essay, or go farm gold in WoW Classic, or I want to do something productive, and then I just sit here and watch YouTube shorts and doom scroll or TikTok. It's one of the two, and I'm just like, I just feel burnt out, and this is like the only thing that's like other than sleep, that it's the one thing I can do that's not going to wreck my sleep schedule but isn't taking energy away. Does that make sense?
You feel that. And then so something I've dealt with, and I don't know why, maybe it's just because it's put our work schedules so far apart, but ever since I went to an 8.5-hour day at work to get off early on Fridays, like that extra half hour seems like an insane amount of time, and it's like so draining.
Oh my God, yes. So when in my old job, I've always worked through lunch. It's either been a working lunch or I just don't eat lunch and I work straight through.
I wish I could work straight through lunch. I wish I could.
Well, I used to, so that I could leave
a
half hour early. That was kind of like the gentleman's agreement that we had. And then they were like, nope. No more of that. And it was like that it was literally like the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the shift. And I was just like, I'm going to die.
Yeah. No, I wish, because I even asked when I got hired on if that was an option to work through lunch. And it's like, I think they're afraid of like a lawsuit or something.
Yeah, well, these guys didn't care about a lawsuit, but yeah,
Yeah, I wish I could just work through lunch and get home a half hour earlier.
yeah,
It would
yeah.
be wonderful.
Or just eat lunch at your desk while you're working.
And I guess it's frustrating because like the only reason I changed my schedule to that was to be able to get off earlier to make it easier to get to my retail job on time on Fridays. So it's still not even like, even though I get off a little early on Friday, like I'm still working till the mall closes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just like it means I don't have to eat as fast for my dinner.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what it seems to have boiled down to. And it's frustrating too, like if you're working multiple jobs, like my schedule, if it's a weekend that I have to work, it's like Friday afternoon is irrelevant. You're not off. You're just doing prep and then drive.
Yeah.
It's like awesome. I don't even know what to do sometimes. And it's like, I could stay home, drive in the morning, but I got to be up at 4 a.m. Or it's like I could drive in the night before, sleep uncomfortably, and not risk being late. But it's just like
Yeah.
So
what's the worser of two evils?
Yeah, they're the lesser of the two evils. Yeah, it's frustrating, but it it kind of comes with the territory, unfortunately. But yeah, War Thunder's been good so far. Well, it hasn't been. It's so frustrating because it's so hit and miss with like good games and bad games. Does that make sense?
I can see that.
It's like, oh, poor baby. He is so upset all the time.
Well, we have been gone on most of the day.
Yeah,
so.
well, and he can't be in here because he tries to tear the desk down, which is so frustrating. It's like, bro, if you just lay on the floor, it'll be okay, but you can't.
Do you think if we got him like a doggy bed to lay under my feet, he would do it?
No, because he wants to be in your lap, even though he weighs 55 pounds.
Poor baby.
Aww.
Oh.
You want me to like let him in and just like hold him?
Maybe.
Okay, hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can get him. I'll be right back. Ugly, host the podcast with me.
He's like, but Mama's over there.
He's like, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is the purpose of this? Can you be chill and not rip the entire desk down with the several $1000s worth of equipment on it? I love how he just like dead hangs.
He's not even moving. I wish you would look at the camera. Oh, there he goes. Aww.
See if I can host this way. There we go. He lays like Wasabi does, just.
He's like, I'll make do with this.
All right. Back to War Thunder. Yes. It's like when I bring like an actual tank and not something specialized, it's like I immediately get clapped. But I'll roll up with the Jeopard, which is made to like shoot helicopters and planes down. I like just start waxing tanks with it because it's so silly. It's got like a 30 or twin 30 or twin 35 millimeter cannons on it. That is just like just deletes everything in front of it.
I feel that. I've done like the planes version. It's weird. But I feel like some games like actually like do like halfway decent. I still suck.
You won't like chase targets, and it confuses me.
I think it's like my ADHD of like.
Well, you forget your left hand. That's one thing.
True. But it's like I'll be like, let me do this plane, or like, no, now that plane's closer, so let me switch over to that plane. And like I'll keep like changing my mind on which plane to target, so I end up doing nothing. That makes sense.
It makes sense.
I feel like I did better the last time because I actually like stuck to targets, but it took you basically like telling me what to do the whole time.
I don't know how to fix that. I just see a tail wagging at the bottom of my screen. Yep, and there he is. If you pet him, he's like, she'll let me up there.
Come here, buddy.
Just give him your leg. Just like, here, hold this for me, bud. Yeah,
he's calm. He's touching me, so he's calm.
You're seeing him as a footrest. Oh man. Why can we not have a normal podcast anymore? Oh my god. Yeah, so I really don't know how to fix that other than like it's really just like a thing of it's a list of target prioritization, if that makes sense. Like I chase planes that are closest to me and are below me. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I try to do that, but then like a different plane gets closer, so then I jump to that one, but then another plane gets closer, so I jump to that one.
If you can tell yourself to not jump targets and to chase the target if it's not outrunning you, does that make sense?
Yeah. And I feel like having you kind of walk me through it was like helpful of like I feel like I've been trying to strategize on my own, but not knowing how to strategize, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get that.
And then for me, like when I'm being shot at, that's a whole nother problem because I don't know why, because I know like I can see how high up I am, but I have like this fear of like just flying straight into the ground if I'm like down from the target.
Yeah, I forgot about that. You literally nose up and then you just start bleeding speed until you're just effectively a stationary target for them.
Yeah.
You should just play chicken with the ground. They'll either hit the ground or you will. One of the two. Or you both won't hit the ground. Or you both will hit the ground
or get shot down. So
yeah, I would start aiming at the ground. Like speed is life. And don't get me wrong, I suck at evasive maneuvers too. Like I'll be doing like real cool, crazy high speed, evasive maneuvers, trying to like S-turn and get them to overshoot so I can get back on them, and then I'll do an S-turn, come back, do the other side of it, and then they're just like, and I'm dead, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think it's hard because like you can't really see what's going on around you.
If you hold C, you can free cam, but I know it's hard for you because you forget this hand exists and you're just trying to use your mouse the entire time.
Here's the thing, because my fear is if I do that and I'm not like having the cockpit view, I'm just gonna run into something and die anyway. So
what'll happen if you're flying and you hit C and you move around with your mouse, your plane will not deviate from that course.
I know that, but like if something flies in front of me, then I can't like dodge it.
Okay.
Like you don't have control of the plane during that time.
So when you're driving down the road, do you look over your shoulder to check your blind spot, or do you just look in the mirror?
I look at so I turn on my turn signal, see if my car beeps, check the mirror, and then look over my shoulder.
I don't care if I've got blind spot detection or not. It is helpful, but I mean, I always...
Well, if it beeps, it's an automatic. There's no point of looking over my shoulder.
You're right.
I still always check over my shoulder, but like I'm going to listen for the beep first, because if I don't have to take my eyes off of what's in front of me, I'm less likely to run into something.
This is true. Hold on, give me 1 sec. There we go. Sorry. It was bothering me like talking across the mic, not at the mic. Yeah, I get your problem. Like I understand it, but it's also one of those things like you won't get better if you don't,
Yeah.
And like that's where I'm at with like tanks.
And I will say I don't mind being bad at it. like some video games, like it's so frustrating if I'm bad at it because I feel like I'm going nowhere. With this, I still feel like I'm at least doing something in some form or another.
Right. So that's where like I'm frustrated right now with the tier that I'm at with tanks. Is tanks are now just getting access to APFSDS rounds, armor penetrating, fin stabilized, discarding sabos, and they're just they're disgusting. They just punch through everything. You can't deflect it. Cold War armor tanks didn't really. They had sloped armor, but they didn't have like sloped enough. So it's just really frustrating just trying to use heat rounds that may they can punch through, but they can't like one shot a tank. An APFSDS round, like it hits me in the turret and I'm dead instantly. It's like awesome, cool. Like I don't even get a chance to learn to fight or to like use my newer tanks because by the time I get to the fight, I'm just dead. And it's like, cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating. And it's frustrating putting a 137 millimeter heat rocket or ATGM on target on the turret, and it does nothing.
That happens sometimes.
It's like, I just, yeah, that's why APFSDS rounds make me really angry because I don't have them. That's why I'm upsetty spaghetti is because I haven't. I have one tank that can use them, and I haven't made it far enough into its unlock tree to actually get to use it yet, and it upsets me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say right now, I kind of feel like my biggest problem is that the only time I play video games is when we're recording. So once a week.
Well, let's play some more like off stream, off recording.
You never invite me to, or you're busy with WoW or something else, or with your friends. So
I think I've played with my friends once in the past month. Daniel's always trying to bully me. But I mean, we can play some more. I think a lot of it, what would help you is if I went like more hands off and like I played Helldivers and you played War Thunder and we were just kind of in the same room and you were like, hey babe, what do I do with this? Like if you had like a general question, but I kind of like just let you into the ecosystem and you just kind of like.
Yeah, I can say that because like I think that's the hard part is like you at least like you may not always play with them, but you have friends to play video games with. Like I don't really have anyone to play with.
You have Shelly.
For like maybe another month of that.
Yeah, it's true.
And like I don't even know what game she plays.
She plays Lethal Company.
Well, I don't.
At least that was the last thing she was gushing about.
Well, I don't have that game.
It's true. You have WoW and you won't play it with me.
Well, we're not doing the same things.
We can do the same things in WoW.
How so? Because I'm on like this whole like quest thing that you're not on. So
yeah, I can do it. You just have to invite me to the party.
Why are you just now explaining this?
I explained this. Like, if you go back to the VOD.
No, because you.
So what you're thinking of is like when you're in an instance. So if you're on like an instanced quest, like the starter island, I can't help you. But if you're just out in the overworld questing, like all you have to do is invite me to the party. Share the quest to me and I can do it with you.
You were like trying just to like come and hang out while like trying to get to me while I kept trying to. So why didn't we just do that when I was doing the quest by myself?
I don't remember the reason why. I think it was like in part of it too. I was like, I think I couldn't remember because I was torn. It was like, do I like help her and hold her hand the whole way? Or do I like let her into the world and see if she can figure it out on her own? Does that make sense? Or is that like kind of...
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I can kind of like figure it out on my own. I just like, honestly, I find WoW to be kind of boring.
I'm such an old man. Yeah, I can see that. There's like retail WoW is boring to me. It's all flash and no substance.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I feel like WoW is very much about the story. And
it used to be, and it's still story driven now, but it's like, look at the new thing, go get the new thing or the new raid or the new armor or the new mount or the new cosmetic, and it's just like,
yeah, part of me, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of like story driven video games.
Really?
Yeah, I think
maybe you just haven't found one that has the right story for you.
Maybe.
So like, if you, just off of your limited play experience right now, like what kind of game do you think would be appealing to you? Can't say War Thunder. Can't say Ace Combat.
I don't even know what Ace Combat is.
It's War Thunder Light.
Okay. I definitely like those. I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't have enough
like play experience to know what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I want to recommend to you, but it's also like, here's a really good example. If you have basic RPG experience, Conan Exiles is easy to begin playing. There's a lot of nuances later on in the game and like things to learn, but you don't have base RPG experience, so it would be difficult for you to learn to play. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it would be a game that you would enjoy.
Well, I feel like right now kind of the hard part is like, as our audience knows, we've had a lot of vet expenses with our animals.
Yeah.
Like money's a little tight at the moment to just go buy video games for me to try.
Right. And that's why I hope Steam drops this new family share thing, so I could at least share the game to you. Like, I can't play it with you, but you could at least try it and be like, no, not my thing. Or, oh, that was interesting. Like, is it even worth us investing in?
Yeah. So I'm hoping maybe if the animals will stop getting sick and stop eating stuff they're not supposed to, Mowgli.
Yeah, we're talking to you down there, buddy.
Then maybe we can kind of get finances settled out.
Go to sleep. Chooses to go to sleep.
That's probably what he wants. It is getting close to his bedtime.
He's like, Mama, the lights are on.
And
we are not in bed. This is unacceptable behavior. I'm filing a complaint with the Bureau.
Because, yes, I have to go to sleep with him. He cannot just go to sleep on his own.
He will when you're not here, but he'll pout the entire time.
Oh, I know.
Buddy, it is okay. It is okay. She's not leaving you.
Oh.
But talking about WoW, they actually dropped a new WoW sort of. They dropped their own battle royale called Plunderstorm. Haven't played it yet. Looks interesting, but don't know if it is for me. So,
are you gonna try it, or?
I don't know yet. I don't even know if it's worth my time, especially with the phase 3 drop coming. I'm like, I gotta focus on leveling so my raid team and my guild's other raid team are gonna be merging soon, because the new raid cap's going up to 20. So we got to double up on bodies for the new Sunken Temple raid that'll be coming out. Getting pretty stoked about that.
So what's the benefit, or at least on like the side of WoW, to like double the size of the teams?
There is none. That is a raid requirement.
Oh, okay.
It's so like raids are structured around so dungeons are structured around having 5 people. Raids initially in Season of Discovery were structured around having 10 people. And you couldn't bring more than that into the instance.
Did you bring less?
You could if you wanted to.
Okay.
I mean, we 9-manned Nomergon one night. is our healer is an absolute monster of a human being. But so the new raid requirement for people, the people requirement is now going to be 20 people. And then later on, it'll eventually be 40 people.
Okay. Is it just because like they're making it harder that you need the more bodies, or?
It's a combination of harder and a combination of community building.
Okay.
Because originally in Vanilla WoW, it was there were 5. I'm trying to remember. There were 5-man. I think there were 5-man, 10-man, 20-man, and 40-man content. But to do the hardest content in the game, like the in-game stuff, really the end of the story for Vanilla, it required 40 people to do it. So it required big guilds and communities to form and come together to go overcome this challenge. That was kind of the mindset, I think, with their building. Which I think still works in Classic, still works in Season of Discovery, because the people who play that, like me, like I came from the era of 25-man raiding. That was where I got my start. I started on the 10-man team and then moved to the 25-man team because we had about 35, 40 people that were active raiders in my first guild. They kind of kept downsizing the raids as the expansions went on. It was 40, then 25, then there was 10-man and 25-man on top of each other. You could run either or, you just chose. And that carried on all the way up until Siege of Orgrimmar and Mist of Pandaria. They added Mythic and Flex rating. So the difficulty would scale based off how many people you had. But obviously that creates a meta. Everybody went in and they did the calculations. They figured it out of like the maximum return on investment of personnel is like 23 people or something like that. They were like, if you add 24, it gets the curve of difficulty was continued to go up higher. You got no benefit from the 24th person. I can't remember the exact number, but it was somewhere around there. It wasn't a full 30-man stack. So that's kind of how things went. But I think going forward, it'll be 20-man for Sunken Temple, and then I think they're going to make Molten Core 20-man as well, and then they'll do 40-man for AQ. Well, it's funny, it's in the name. So there's AQ20, AQ40. So I think we'll get 40-man by AQ, and then Nax is, from what I understand, is going to be 40-man content. Which is pretty cool. It'll be cool to recruit more people and see bigger guilds. Because, I mean, I've been in 40-man raids, but not like 40-man classic content, like 40-man PvP, Alterac Valleys and stuff. But it'll be interesting to have 40 people shoved in a Discord together, all in one raid together, coordinating with each other with one solidified raid leader, which will be super interesting. Because I remember being a raid leader in a 25-man team. Before Mythic, I was a raid leader in 25-man Heroic, and that was a cluster sometimes, but it was a lot of fun. I long for the days. Super stoked for the Cataclysm Classic to come out as well. I might be splitting my time a little bit, but we'll see how things go.
But yeah, no, I think that's part of the reason I'm not.
Sorry, I kind of derailed the conversation.
I think that's part of the reason I'm kind of struggling is like you have built like a community within video games, and it's like I'm off on my own, and especially with me as like an extrovert, I feel like it's kind of like, well, I'm not getting any socialization through video games, so why would I spend why would I spend energy that drains me? Versus like
puzzle just fit together.
Versus like I can go out like even just like, to me, like part of the reason I work my retail job is like I enjoy my coworkers and I enjoy hanging out with them.
Right.
It sucks working with the public like that. Not gonna lie.
Mrs. Pete herself.
But it's like Like, I would much rather be at work with my friends gaining energy than being here while like you're off kind of doing things with your community and I'm just here like playing War Thunder on my own.
Okay, I kind of see where the issue is. See, I'm the opposite. Playing video games with people drains me.
Yeah, no.
Like
playing on my own drains me.
So like, well, I'm weird. So like, if I'm playing with one person, like if I was just playing with you, depending on the game, because like one person doesn't really drain me so much. It's what like raid is draining to me because there's 9 other people and there very soon will be 19 other people in the raid, and it's just like, you know, I
think there reaches a point where it's like too much to coordinate, and it's like I wouldn't want to do that. But no, like to me, it's like very boring, and it's like, well, like why should I be in here by myself using brain power to try to like essentially like solve a puzzle?
Right.
I don't really like know another way of like using brain power to do all this stuff, and I'm doing something that's draining me when I can just like lay on my phone and scroll through YouTube.
Oh, you would have had a heyday back in the day, because like, so it used to be there weren't tools, there weren't group finder tools. Like you had to go talk to people. You'd have to be like, hey, you, can I join your group? Or hey, you, can you come join my group? You know what I mean? You had to talk to people. There was no looking for group. There's even tools in like a lot of other video games to help group people together. And it's like everybody just kind of groups up and they're like, all right, we're here to do a job. Don't talk to each other. Just blitz through the content and then leave the party.
Yeah.
You know,
and to me, that's just crazy. And which I feel like where I would have like struggled though, like the olden days, like where you had the olden days. Not that long ago.
Ye olden days.
Wow.
I was there 3,000 years ago when to join a clan, you had to change your gamer tag to where the clan.
It's crazy how much things have changed in such a short period of time.
Because I remember, God, this was Bad Company 2. I think it was Bad Company 2. Where if you wanted to join a Bad Company 2 clan, you had to change your gamer tag. So like ours, I can't even remember the name of the clan now, but the clan like acronym was PXG. So to join, like you basically had to pay to join. You had to pay Microsoft to join the clan. You'd have to change your gamer tag to like PXG, whatever yours. So like I would have been PXG Malganis to like join the clan, and then you were officially in.
Yeah, and well, I feel like where I would have struggled back then is like I know I'm terrible at video games, and it's like, and I think part of this is because I'm such a perfectionist that it would be hard for me to go up to someone knowing I suck. Be like, hey, let me join you, let me drag, because to me it's like it's asking them to let me drag you down.
So I get that from the other end of the spectrum, because I've been a raider for so long. If it's like a good example, I'm trying to think, like a boss with an easy boss mechanic. We've killed the boss a number of times, super easy. We get in there and somebody who's been with us the whole time is making mistakes. And I'm like, what are we doing? We're wasting everyone's time because you won't pay attention. Mowgli. She's right there. She's not leaving you. So it's like, I get your standpoint, because that's kind of like my thing. Like, that's why I initially like quit playing Tarkov the first time I played it, because I didn't know anybody and I didn't know how to ask somebody for help. You know what I mean? It took a friend to introduce me and make friends with somebody to teach me to play. Otherwise, I would have just had this $150 game that I never played, because I was like, well, I'm bad at it and I can't figure it out. And I don't know who to ask to teach me how to play the game, you know?
Yeah, no, that would be me all the way around. I think that's part of the reason, like, I never got into gaming, is I was just like, I don't know how to play. I don't have anyone to teach me and I just suck at it. So what's the point?
Yeah, I can see why you would feel that way.
And me and my ADHD brain just going down the spiral doesn't help. So,
did you take your meds today?
I did.
Oh, that's right, you did, because you reminded me to take mine. Ha! Yeah, no, I definitely get it, and it's a tough one. Like, I think League of Legends is a really good example, because in League of Legends, I always say that everybody thinks they're a pro player playing in the LCS, because if you make one mistake, they're just going to light you up. And it's like, well, I'm not having fun anymore, so why would I play this game? You know what I mean? If everybody's just going to be shitty to me the whole time.
Yeah. And I think there is like that fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say it is better. Like, especially now that I have like the ADHD diagnosis versus beforehand.
Yeah.
Cause it's very easy just to like spiral out, and me being a perfectionist, any form of negativity combined with it, it was just spiral out of control.
Yeah, it just pushes you off the ledge. So let me ask you this. So being a perfectionist, do you embrace the process of becoming perfect? Or do you presume that you need to be perfect from the rip?
Oh.
This is getting to a point, because now I am on a quest to find a story game, like a story-driven game that you would love.
So there's a balancing act to this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to come from like the education side of me, because I love learning.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's a balance of, if I don't get it quick enough,
you're like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, like, and to me it's like super frustrating. So I'll give you this example. When I took calculus in high school, huge math nerd, I love math. And we were learning, basically, we had a 2D graph. There's a thing where you would either rotate it around the x-axis to get a 3D shape.
Okay.
And there would be like an equation where you could use the 2D graph to find the volume of what that 3D shape is.
Okay.
Trying to keep it as simple as possible. I sucked at it.
Really?
I hated it. It drove me insane. I was just like, what on earth are we doing? And I wasn't getting it. And I'm going to say this, the entire class wasn't getting it. It wasn't just me.
That's the worst feeling ever. When you're the only person in the class that isn't getting it, it makes you want to smash your head into a wall.
Yeah, basically. But it's like, it wasn't just me. It was like the whole class was kind of like, what is going on? I didn't like the fact that I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. Like, I left that class having no idea how to do my homework.
Ooh, okay.
And again, wasn't the only one. So I went to a different math teacher. And I was just like, can you explain this in a different way? Because I'm not getting it. And I mean, she was a great math teacher, but she was very busy. And I remember her handing me a different textbook.
Okay.
She was like, go home and read this chapter.
Okay.
And I went home. I think I spent 2 hours on my calculus homework. I don't think I've ever spent that much time on math homework before. You
are of a very small group of individuals.
And I think part of it is math has always come pretty natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the logic behind it. And so the understanding of it came relatively quickly.
Okay.
But I remember like I had the calculus textbook for the class, my notes, this other textbook, and then my homework.
You got a whole spread in front of you.
And by the next day, I went into my calculus teacher with like a list of questions.
Okay.
Making sure, because I was like, I reached a point where I was like, I think I understand this.
Okay.
But I wasn't 100% sure. So I went in with like a list of questions to make sure. And when he was just like, yep, that's right. That's right. I was like, okay, I understand it now. I got it. But it drove me insane. And I wanted to learn it as quick as possible and then skip to like Calc 2 in college. I remember sleeping through that lesson.
Ooh, okay.
And
so
then, like,
it paid off in the end.
Yeah, like I slept through that lesson. The person beside me, we became really good friends, and he was looking at me. He like nudged me, and he was just like, "Do you understand this?"
I'm like, yeah, I got this in high school.
Yeah, I was like, I got this. What don't you understand?
So, God, it makes me want to make you play Dark Souls now.
Why?
So, Dark Souls is a guise, and it is made to make you think everything is random. It is not. It is a series of events that you can memorize.
I hate memorizing. That's why I hate history.
Well, it's not. When I say memorize, it's not like.
Is there like patterns you can see?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's like so it's like my favorite meme. It's like from Yahtzee. He's like I've memorized all your attack patterns now, and now I'm like fantasy Batman. You know, it's like the bosses have an attack pattern. Read the pattern. It's like an equation. Solve the equation.
I would probably enjoy that because like my thing is, and where I like math, because this is something I believe a lot of people either like math or they kind of like history.
Mm-hmm.
History is more like memorizing.
Not at the collegiate level. I was a history major in college. At the collegiate level, it's not as much memorization. In high school, yes, it is. You're just regurgitating events and dates.
I hate it.
And names. At the collegiate level, things change.
Still have no idea how I passed the A-Push exam because I knew the answer to one question on that exam, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
Was it multiple choice?
It was.
There you go.
It was multiple choice out of
pick C. I don't know how it's statistically the right answer, but it apparently is.
So statistically, I'm pretty sure I did that. Was like almost my entire answer sheet was C.
C.
I knew the answer to one question.
Was it a B?
Actually, I think that was.
Golf clap.
And then the essays I did enjoy writing for because there was an essay portion.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot more of the collegiate level. Like I had a professor at a 400 level class. Probably the best professor I ever had. One of the best educators I ever had. All of his tests, whether it was a pop quiz or the final, was all essay. Everything had to be handwritten essay because he was old school.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that the person who graded my essays was probably atheist. So
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but okay.
So I did a lot. I had a question. I wish I could remember what it was, but I tied in. It was weird, which I took. A-Push, and then like English 3 was like the American literature portion of it, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember like I tied in kind of like the hypocrisy of the Scarlet Letter into it and talked about kind of hypocrisy in Christianity and how that shaped the development of our country.
Yeah, prohibition. Prime example.
I really don't remember all of it, but yeah, I remember like writing a lot about that. So, which was, I did feel like it was a pretty well written essay.
Okay.
But it was interesting to write about.
Fair enough.
If there was a Christian that graded, I'm pretty sure they're gonna like hate my guts.
Yeah.
But yeah. But for me, it's like I hate memorizing things, and I'm not good at memorizing things, and I think that's why like math comes relatively easy, is I'm good at spotting patterns.
So the really where a lot of memorization in Dark Souls comes in from is it's more like a muscle memory than it is a memorizing. It's like there's a lot of surprise attacks in the game. So like some dude will be sitting behind a corner, he'll jump you. If you have quick enough reaction time, it doesn't matter. You're just like, dodge him. But for bosses, it's all about recognize the pattern. When they stand a specific way, or when they start to do a certain thing, you're like, oh, you're doing that thing, I'm going to do this.
And that's something I may not be good at though, because I don't feel like I'm great with like human patterns.
Very few things in Dark Souls qualify as human. There's giant monsters. Majority of the boss. It's actually fun. The giant monsters are the easy bosses. Any boss that's human sized is like, oh my god.
But like, it's hard to explain like actions and like facial recognitions. Like, it's not always the easiest thing for me to be like.
You won't be looking. The attacks are very well telegraphed.
Okay. I mean, I can try it, but we'll see.
We'll see. Feed her into the Dark Souls meat grinder. A lot of people hate Dark Souls or the Soulsborne series because they're like, the game is too hard. I'm like, the game is not hard to me because it's just figure it out. You're solving an equation. That's all you're doing. Like Elden Ring, all you're doing is solving an equation. It's like, I have to do this, then this, then this, then this. Just like in a math equation. You're just following the steps. The only time that changes is like maybe on bosses like Malekith or Melania, where it's like they have an attack pattern, but the attack pattern will self-randomize. So they may not do the same thing in the same order every time. You just have to know what the telegraphed patterns are.
Okay. So, this might be a good way of kind of going back to like what my perfectionist side looks like and how that kind of combines with like the learning side. I'll use physics as an example. In physics, there can be multiple ways to solve a problem.
That is the definition of Elden Ring.
So, the amount of times I've started a physics problem and had no idea how to solve it.
But you just kind of worked your way through it?
So you just start. You look at like, you'll see numbers and you'll be like, well, I can use this equation. And you kind of write it out and then you're just like, okay, I can use this. And sometimes I've done a problem, and I'm not exaggerating, where I went in a circle and got nowhere. And I mean, I'm talking like I started at the beginning, went around, did something else, finally ended up at exactly where I started with the exact same equation. I was just like, okay, not that. So, but with that of like, you could consider that a failure, that when you start and you do something the wrong way,
you have eliminated a possibility.
I've eliminated a possibility and I'm able to start over. Or sometimes you don't even have to start all the way over. Versus like in video games, you can get killed off and you have to start all the way back at the beginning. It's like almost like starting at the beginning of the test.
So
it's like I feel like in video games, and again, it depends on the video games.
Yeah.
It's like the failure is a lot worse than like with like certain like physics problems being like looking at a test. It's like, okay, didn't get there. Let me start over at the beginning of the problem.
So that's not how. So Elden Ring, there's Sites of Grace, I think, are what they're called. They're bonfires. Bonfires is the OG from Dark Souls, and then there's lanterns in Bloodborne, and then Sites of Grace in Elden Ring. So if you die, you respawn at the closest site of grace. So like most boss rooms have a site of grace directly outside of it. So if you're under leveled for a boss and you want to do it, you can just respawn at the site of grace, walk right back into the boss fight, do it again. Like the inch. It's funny. There's I can't remember this guy's name. He was complaining about Elden Ring. He's like, it's too hard because like as soon as you enter the main world, like you get out of the little tomb you spawn in, there's a site of grace right there, and at the bottom of the hill is the first boss technically of the second boss technically of the game. Because you fight like a really easy mini boss. I completely missed that boss. I don't know how I did. I like walked out of the tomb. I went left and I should have gone right. And at your level, you're not going to be, well, I shouldn't say that because there's guys out there who have literally beat Elden Ring using potatoes with electrode contacts in them. But you can just keep trying again. It doesn't restart the game. It just moves you back to the side of grace. You can go back and try and fight him.
Okay.
The only time that you would ever experience something like that would be like, there are parts in the game where like the sites of grace get like spaced out from each other, and getting from one to the next would be like you made it 90% of the way, you died, it's like, oh crap. So you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the same. It's only a piece of the whole game in the equation. It's not it's not sending you all the way to where you initially entered the game. It's like you're just at the next side of grace.
Okay.
I feel like Elden Ring might be a little too big for you to bite off. But I mean, it might be worth a shot. I don't know. Whenever I get this new Steam thing figured out, I'll loan it to you, and
okay.
I'll give you a gamepad so long as you don't destroy it out of frustration when you get to Melania.
I mean, I don't exactly know what you're talking about, so...
Oh, you'll know. You will know when you get to her. I think literally, I remember when I got to her, so players can leave messages for each other on the ground and you can read them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of them, it wasn't worded this way, but it effectively was abandon all hope, ye who enter. So like into her battleground, because she's that hard. I remember fighting pre-patch Radon. That was rough. And then I hadn't beat him yet. And that night they patched it and they made him easier. And then I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, when I fought Melania, I was like, summoning all the homies, summoning the Mimic tier. We're going in hard. There were like 5 of us running around trying to kill her. She still killed my Mimic tier and 2 of the guys I summoned in. Like, she's that tough. But she's just an equation. There's a guy called Let Me Solo Her that wears no armor and a pot on his head. And he waits outside of her boss room and waits to be summoned by players. And literally they go into the fight and he can't say it, but it's in his name. Like, he doesn't want you to try and fight her. He's like, you hide in the corner. I'll fight her by myself. And he got so good that he's beaten her like 1,000 times without her even hitting him.
Oh, wow.
It's literally, he figured out the equation.
Which, I mean, that makes sense because that's what video games are.
Yep.
They're equations.
Yep.
So, complex equations, but equations.
Equations nonetheless.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I think that might be why WoW didn't really hit for you, because WoW isn't so much an equation. Like, raids are an equation technically, but it's an equation being solved by 10, 15, 20, 25 people who all are terrible at math. Just like last night in my raid in Nomergon, when our tank decided to not use the right tank stuff because he wanted to experiment. And I told him, I said, man, that was a calculated decision, but man, you're bad at math. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we should probably call it a day with us. So,
thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed the content because we love making it for you.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. We love having you guys, and we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace. Mowgli says goodbye.
You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh.